You press record. Okay, good.
Yeah, I got it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Today is Thursday, April 6th, and I'm calling the land use meeting of Community Board 17 to order. I think we greeted everyone already. Did everyone receive the January 5th meeting minutes? I think we got a quorum. Yeah. We probably have to wait a little bit later because we don't have the quorum yet, so I'll just roll into the report. We'll circle back to the meeting minutes in a few minutes. To get into the report, I'm pleased to provide an update that we had a recent meeting with the Shirley Chisholm Project, and it was the artist selection. That happened on March 16th, and the primary artist for that project was selected. Very talented artist, and we believe that her artistic style, or she's actually telling us that her artistic style involves a lot of community engagement. That engagement starts from breaking ground all the way up until you see her art inside. So very interesting event, and that process is done with. Furthermore, on March 21st, a lot of Chisholm stuff. I met with Chair Daly and Ms. Frazier with McKissick and McKissick to discuss the requirements for both workers and contractors and what will be necessary for someone or any person or entity being interested in the project. We got those details, and we're going to try to do some workshops for anyone interested. I believe there's an event next week that the council member is holding along with Ms. Bashat at Brooklyn College on the 10th, all adding to the same ideal. It's getting the opportunity out there. I've been tasked with it because I actually represent a very unique group of young kids that came straight out of high school and went to the field. So Mr. Daly, knowing that, tasked me with it because he knows that I'm the living example of somebody taking advantage of that opportunity and making something of it. And also that our letter went out to the City Planning Commission. We're waiting the hearing date, which hopefully will be scheduled soon. That day I'll make my best efforts to be there, and unless that application is postponed or the hearing is postponed, they'll have an answer on that particular application the day of, and we'll know where we go with 5381, the storage facility. And those are the three boxes that I checked. Is there any questions regarding the report?
No.
Anybody?
None.
No.
Very good. Thank you. See, a couple of more people came in. Still not enough for quorum. Ms. Davidson, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right. The floor is yours, Ms. Davidson. I'm going to introduce the program director for NHS Brooklyn, who will do a little presentation on event planning. As you know, we are trying to plan our own event, and they're going to aid us in the execution part of it. When I say execution, I mean actually providing the service to the residents that are going to come and join us for that day or that cluster of days, whatever we decide tonight. The only thing that has been decided, you guys could thank Ms. Frazier for this, is we'll be eating footprints. So we're going to eat good and discuss legacy at the same time. So Ms. Davidson, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me on this evening to talk about a program that is needed, very needed in our community. And we're thankful that we were able to get sponsorship for this program, which is, we're calling it Generation to Generation Estate Planning. And this was born out of an initiative to bring estate planning to our Black community. And the project is administered by the Center for New York City Neighborhoods in partnership with 4 community organizations: Bedford-Stuyvesant Restoration Corp., Grow Brooklyn, which are the attorneys that are providing the documents, NHS Brooklyn, NHS of the Bronx and NHS NYC. This was made possible through funding from JP Morgan Chase in introducing this, what we are calling the Generation to Generation Estate Planning Pilot Program. And of course, this is to provide estate planning and life planning services to predominantly low and moderate income Black residents in our neighborhoods and in the neighborhoods of Central and South Brooklyn and the North Bronx. And before I get to program goals, I just want to talk about a little bit why it's so important for us to have estate planning in our communities. Why estate planning? Why is it important? Right? We find that the lack of estate planning in our Black communities means Black communities are especially vulnerable to deed theft and predatory scams.
That's
It
right.
causes entanglements of titles after, say, for example, someone dies. It also helps us when we have estate planning to deal with tax liens and the courts. Having estate planning also prevents the smooth transfer of wealth within our Black community and among Black families, leading without those, right? It leads to loss of wealth in our communities compared to white households who have had estate planning, over the generations for them. And us Black folks we've only started owning homes 50 years ago. So we're kind of late to the game. So we're thankful that we have this program, which is a free program to come to our communities to help us to address things such as loss of wealth, not having medical proxies and things set aside. So we know housing is an investment, right? It's a wealth vehicle that we have in our community to build generational wealth for our families. It's a way, estate planning is a way to preserve our wealth intergenerationally, help us to grow wealth in our community, and it reduces complicated financial and legal things at end of life, or if someone dies and there is entanglement with the properties. So the goal of the program is to increase the awareness and importance of estate planning services for low and moderate income Black homeowners as a critical wealth preservation tool and protection against predatory scammers. It's also to increase engagement with proactive estate planning and expand the provision of free estate planning services throughout Central and Southern Brooklyn, along with the North Bronx. It will also expand the capacity of Black-led community-based organizations having deep community roots to continue to deliver estate planning services, and again, for free. It's also going to ensure that homes and other financial assets are transferred between generations. It will also provide protection against deed theft and scams. And it would help our Black homeowners avoid expensive complications such as tax liens and other inherited debts. And some of the documents that we will help with preparation will be of last will and testament. Because trust is a little bit more involved, we won't be providing trust in the true sense. However, we will provide capacity and life planning, right? So that's while you're alive. So we will provide healthcare proxies, living wills, living trust, provide powers of attorney, and the disposition of remains. That is, if someone has died, what do we do? And we will also help with the transfer of deeds between or amongst people, because oftentimes, we have 3-4 people on the deed and not sure how do we get someone off a deed. So we do have that one service where we will help with the transfer of deeds. And if someone is facing foreclosure because of entanglement of title, we also will provide that as a separate, outside of the generation to generation estate planning, but will help with that situation so that the transfer is smooth, and if court is involved, to help someone, to represent someone in court regarding entanglement of titles. One of the things we see a lot of when our homes go into foreclosure, in our list pendency serve, which is before we even get to the whole foreclosure piece, becomes public knowledge, right? Everyone knows about this, and we have everybody knocking down our doors. And one of the things that I've seen a lot of is people coming and saying, all right, so we're going to work with you, we're going to do this, you have to sign this contract. And one of the things we notice is they go down to the county clerk's office, and they file this contract against the person's property. Now, that becomes an issue when someone tries to sell the house. If they try for loss mitigation, sometimes when the servicer pulls title, they're seeing that title is clouded because of this contract that's on there, or these contracts that are on there. Because I've had clients who have had more than one contract on the property, because everyone is trying to do a short sale, and we understand the bank has to approve a short sale. So why encumber someone's title if you don't know the bank is going to approve it? So we do have service to address those needs for people to get those contracts off of title, so that they can possibly move forward towards loss mitigation, such as getting a modification, getting $50 to help to bring their loans current, and get that encumbrance off. So in addition to the estate planning, helping us to set up wills and trust and all the things that we need to move forward. So that's pretty much what the estate planning program is about. Questions?
Mm.
So thank you for allowing me to share this program with you tonight.
Thank you.
And
Sorry,
looking
that was
forward
mute. You have a question. Is it going to be available for everyone in the community? I'm going to say yes. If you're a part of
Yes.
Community 417, our event will be available to all residents of the community. Or that service will be extended to all residents of the community.
Yes.
Before we get into the other questions, I just want to take a census. If anybody has their estate planning, last will and testament, medical proxy, your documents in order, could you raise your hand?
Good question.
Awesome. Awesome. Love
Yeah.
to see the hands.
All right.
That's great.
Hmm.
Miss Martinez, I see you.
Yeah.
Nice,
So
nice.
even percentage wise from the people in this room, we're looking at like 25%, maybe 27, doing the math in my head. 27% of the people in the room, including myself, has these affairs in order. And it's important, it's important to have that kind of ironed out. You don't want any questions, and obviously we don't know when it's our time to go. But at this time, I'm going to open the floor to any questions that you may have for Ms. Davison. Anybody have any questions? There's a question about deed covenant. Will the event cover deed covenant?
I am not an attorney, so I'm not sure what a deed covenant is. You can explain what that is for me?
Maybe it's conveyance, she's saying. I'm not sure.
Deed conveyance, definitely. Yes, if that's what it is, then yes.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Now we got to get to the nitty gritty.
Marketing.
Yeah, nitty gritty.
Yes.
Not only is the marketing is important, but we do need to lock down and coordinate what dates make the most sense, both for ourselves, the House of Worship, which we have to check their schedule to make sure. Mr. Lewis, could you give me the address of the House of Worship? I'm sorry, I didn't get that from you.
1055 Rogers Avenue.
1055 Rogers Avenue is the location that we'll be utilizing. It's a 7-day Adventist church. So they have their services on Saturday mornings, so that block of time would be limited. We would have to have the event, I think, after 1. So giving them an hour to do whatever they need to do. It would probably need to start at 3 the earliest. Is that correct, Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
All right. So we're looking at 3 on Saturday, and then opinions. Should we just have it on the weekend? Should we do 2 Saturdays? Should we have a weekday and a Saturday?
I think a weekday and a Saturday.
Yeah, an evening.
Okay. Hold on. There's one more question. Mr. Dawes is asking, can you elaborate on the $50 in terms of loss mitigation? Did I hear that correctly? And then we'll get back into that.
Yes, you did hear that correctly. So the Homeowner Assistance Fund provides up to $95,000 for homeowners. The program is closed, right? So we have been putting people on the wait list for those people who did not apply back in January of 21 when the program opened. So it does help. What we're seeing is that there are people who are owing more than the 95,000, and so when that is what we're faced with, we often have to negotiate with the servicer to accept the 95,000 and give the person loss mitigation, whatever form of loss mitigation they're going to provide to get that person current. Sometimes it might be a modification added on with that 95%, or it might be, depending on the loan type, it might be, sorry, Chips, I just got brain fog. I am so sorry. A partial claim, depending on the loan that you have.
Okay. Got it. Just circling some dates. Does that answer your question, Mr. Dawes?
I'm on a webinar.
Mr. Dawes? Okay, excellent. How will the community be informed? Email, door knockers? I would say it needs to be a combination of all 3. Ms. Thomas, our communications chair, if she's still active at that time, we'll post it to all social medias, of course. There's no harm in having the pamphlets and flyers once we have somebody make one. Anybody before I forcefully pick anybody elected to help us create a flyer for the event? Anybody with those particular set of skills? All right, we'll get it done one way or another. But let's just go back to the days, the date and times. Where were we with that? We said you said a weekday. Was that Ms. Thomas that was in discussion? You said a weekday and a weekend.
Yeah, a weekday and a weekend I think would cover most people, not all people, but most people.
Okay. So a Friday, Saturday, we're assuming. You type the name of the 2021 program that. Sure. Ms. Davison, could you in the chat add the name of the program you're referring to from 2021? Mr. Dawes. Looking at April, I mean, April is tight. Right? I mean, next weekend there's some event, and obviously that'd be too soon to coordinate. The weekend following, it's a little congested as well. The 22nd and the 23rd may be too soon. On the following week, we actually have our meeting. So if we were to have it that Friday and Saturday, it would be right after that meeting of May 4th, which is the 5th and 6th. Then you actually have the 12th, 13th.
But there's I see the park beautification at 10 a.m.
It's
So
at
I don't
10 a.m.
know.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
See that?
on the
Yeah.
6th. Yeah.
So the 6th would be a no-go. So we're looking at,
I'm sorry. This is Joan Bacadini.
oh, hi, Ms. Bacardine, how are you?
Hi, how are
Yeah.
you, sir? I'm good. Hello, everyone. I do have a question. So are we looking to do this event on a Friday and then a Saturday?
Yeah, I think we're choosing a weekday and weekend. But it could be split, you know, if another if a better date is afforded to us, you know.
Okay, because it would cut into some of the population We have 7-day Adventists, which means sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. We have other folks that won't be able to attend if we do it Friday and Saturday. So I just wanted to make sure that that was thought of.
So we need to, so we should split the days. We have a Thursday and the Thursday of the 18th and the 20th. That's available that I see. If you want to split the days, I see not much in April. Sorry, I'm looking at the calendars I sent out. I just got them, so I'm not really absorbed yet with what they are. I see it'd be late, but the 15th of June and the 17th. But I don't know if I'm going to be here, so that'd be a bad day. So we're looking at,
Would you be opposed to the 19th and the 20th of May?
well, that block of days is available. We do need to make sure it's available for anybody that's going to be involved with us. So the 19th and the 20th wouldn't be bad, but taking into consideration the religious implications.
True, but the 19th is a Thursday.
19th is
Thursday.
you're looking at April or May?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at this
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah, I meant the 18th, 19th. So I meant the Thursday, Friday. Is that right? Yeah, the
Yeah.
18th and 19th. Yeah. That's not what I said? Or did I say the 19th and 20th the first time?
You got there. It was just the wrong calendar. The wrong day. So the 18th, the 20th. Yeah. Then the event is on Sunday. There's no conflict. The following weekend, which is a conflict again, we got the Black Associations meeting. Then that rolls into Memorial Day, which probably people most likely going to disappear. I mean, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going to disappear. So any objections to the 18th and 20th of May? Oh, 17th is June Housing Committee Fair. 17th of
June.
June. Okay. Yeah, so we're trying to stick to May. Miss Erskine, hand raise.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that we put them a week apart instead of being the
Okay.
same week, because if somebody's out of town or they're busy, they miss both. So is it possible to do, say, a Thursday on one week and the Saturday or Sunday the following week, just to get a wider spread of people that might be able to come? It's just an idea.
Mhm.
I don't feel that strongly about it.
It's a lot of conflict in May.
Yeah.
It's a lot of mayhem in May, as far as that plan's concerned.
Okay.
Because we start May, unless we do it before our next meeting, it would be that Wednesday, and then that following Saturday, which would be the 13th.
Okay. As I say, it's just something that occurred to me,
Yeah.
and getting everything together for 2 days that aren't too far apart might be
Mhm.
easier on the organizational scale anyway. So, okay.
Ms. Davison, sorry.
Thank you. So I'm a little bit lost. Are you, the event you're speaking of, is it going to be an estate planning event?
It
Is
is.
that what is being planned?
It is.
Along with us and the attorneys that are doing this?
Correct.
Okay, all right,
We're
thank you. I
hoping.
didn't know. I was
Yeah.
hoping. Right,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how Saturdays work for the attorneys that are a part of this, but
Right.
I will definitely take it to the group tomorrow. in
Yeah,
our
well, even
meeting and do that.
if we have their information available, and we're gonna take signups and surveys when we
Yes,
do the event. So
that's,
we'll
yes,
still be able to gear the people in the right direction. The idea is just having
this event.
having it available and knowing that it's an available resource. We have to accommodate and do the best we can, but unfortunately, it may happen. There may be conflict, but we just want to make sure that the community is aware that these resources are available.
Yes.
and the importance of them.
Yes.
So-
Definitely. Thank you.
All right, what we got? Homeowner assistance fund. This. All right, so what do we think about the 18th and 20th? Oh, Mr. Lewis, sorry, I didn't see your hand. It's blending in.
No, it's, now that the date changed, I'm gonna put my hand up.
Okay. Anybody? And these are dates that we're going to submit to. I think that we should do a block of dates and not commit to one just to see what's available. So I'm going to do the preferred date as the 18th, 20th. And I'm going to put an emergency backup as the 12th and 13th. Just in case we have conflict and it doesn't work out with the people that are going to come and host and speak at the event. I'm going to probably get back on the phone with Miss Davison and Mr. McDonald to see what their schedule is, because their schedule isn't unless you have it, Miss Davison. I don't think that we have whatever your conflicts would be. And then the idea is, what do we want to discuss other than the normal topics? Does anybody feel like there's any other topics that need to be discussed at this event?
I just have a question.
Who's speaking?
This is Daryl Holland.
Oh, Mr. Holland, go ahead.
Yeah.
Floor is yours.
Number one, my industrial business zones I manage cover 3 community boards, and I'm trying to be involved as much as I can on either one. I'm not sure I know everything what this event is about, and I don't know if you want to take the time to explain it now, or if I can look it up somewhere, so I'll get an idea what it's about.
Okay, the event we're trying to host is an estate planning event. The point of the event is to be informational, educational, and give the community a resource to actually execute on that knowledge, right? We're trying to
Okay.
partner up with NHS Brooklyn, who has resources through attorneys that they have joint ventures with that can provide the documents and actually execute the estate planning for the residents that are interested, free of charge.
Okay, thank you. Now,
Right.
number 2, there are people at the Bach Network that have the ability to make flyers and things.
Okay.
If you send me enough information, I'll see if they can do it, and let you know well ahead of time. So if they can't, you can find somebody else. But
Okay.
send me some information that you want in the flyer. Let me know who to speak to about it, and then I'll speak to my people in the Bach Network to see if I can get them to do and get somebody to make it up for us. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Sure.
All right. All right. I'll try to do the best to get the run of show and get the event coordinated. I don't really see it being more than a 1 to 2 hour, maybe 3 hour max thing, depending on everybody showing up on time and, it getting off to the races early enough. But yeah, this will be the beginning conversations. We'll follow up the conversations and ongoing in the chat. And as I coordinate dates, we'll get familiar and I'll get with the professionals. I know who the professionals are. They're a little quiet tonight, but I have your numbers. I'll call you and we'll coordinate the execution of the event as far as what speakers we should have and to make sure that we touch on all the topics. Kind of wanted to touch on insurance a bit, the importance of it and that type of financial vehicle and how that could be integrated into trust and et cetera. But judging by the percentage of the room, the power of this particular financial instrument is not being or there's a lack of understanding. More people should have it, I believe, especially if you're a homeowner. But Miss Davison, you still here?
Yes, I'm still here. I was just typing in the chat. Somebody was asking for information.
All right, but a little shy tonight, but it's okay. It's all right. We'll get it going and we'll nail the details. We have the venue. We have 2 blocks of dates that we're going to coordinate and see if it works. Looking for the middle of May. And we have Mr. Holland, who's going to help us with some flyers. I'll coordinate to run a show. I'm going to reach out to Ms. Waterman. She did have a comment to me
What happened? What you doing?
during our executive breakfast about she's actually a person who's benefited from having that type of plan in place. So we'll reach out to our office to see if she's willing to come and speak. And two hands. I didn't see which one went up first, so I'm going to start with Ms. Quashi. Sorry.
Yes, I don't know if this is the right subject, but are we going to have anyone speak about in the near future about whether or not we should put our homes in an LLC? How to protect ourselves from being sued or something of that nature, or the benefits or the risk of doing that?
I'm sure that the attorneys that's there, especially when it pertains to deed transfers and stuff like that, will be knowledgeable in that subject. I'm not gonna do that now.
No. I'm just saying.
yeah.
No. I'm
Yeah.
saying
Yeah,
have a
I'm gonna-
forum on that.
Yeah, this could be the same day for that forum. I believe if you have a, this is the topic is a deed transfer and the importance of it. You could have your deed in the trust, you could have your deed in the LLC. And the type of protections really depends on what you add to it, but that's for an attorney to answer. And I believe that those attorneys that would specialize in that particular subject matter would be here, hopefully be here at this event
Okay,
for you.
thank you.
No problem. Ms. Bennett?
Hi, yes, good evening. You said something about a date or a week in May, possibly June.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm not sure if you heard from me. We looked through the dates. So we had the events calendar for the Community Board 17, and we try to pick blocks that didn't have conflicts with meetings, committee meetings, our meetings, and community events that's being hosted by us. So to get this done before June, unless we do it at the end of June, would be middle of May, which we're going to shoot for,
Yeah, because Deed Land Fest, well, deed theft in this community, I believe it's on the rise. And it's something we really need to protect ourselves against.
And hopefully this could do that. As long as we could coordinate it and get the right information out there. It's really about information, taking the step. A lot of times people get information, they don't take the step, the necessary steps to
Could we also invite someone from the Brooklyn DA's office? Because I believe they had something a couple of years ago. They were discussing that to protect people.
And you're talking about in regards to deed theft?
Yeah, in the DA's office.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're not limiting the conversation as long as it falls within the parameters of what we're talking about, and it falls, it falls in the estate planning. If you want to have protection of
It feels, oh yeah. Thank you.
Ms. Robinson?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're unmuted. I don't know if you raise your hand. Ms. Martinez?
Just in regards to what Vanessa was saying, I think about turning your property into an LLC, because this is one thing where we could try to move for legislation. Because the reality is, if the best course of action is to move it into an LLC, but if you do, that means you're no longer qualified for the STAR and credit or the exemption. So that's that, because it can't be owned by a corporation or an entity like that and still receive the credit. So that's something that we may want to try to, move our elected officials to change.
Okay.
Especially as it's smarter to have your home in an LLC.
That's an attorney giving you advice. No. So the LLC, there's also the tax implications of it. That's important as well. It's all a vehicle, and I think that is circling back to what we need this to be about. It's about understanding, and we want people to have the freedom to ask these questions, because if one of us doesn't know, hopefully there's a professional in the room that can answer those questions and get them to the right place. Ultimately, if everyone had this mechanism in place, we wouldn't be subject to a lot of the stories that we've been hearing. Unfortunately, you know, as our community gets older and as our older residents age, you know, the kids move away and they lead themselves to this action. But something as simple as a 40-page document that's notarized could protect them from a lot of the stuff that we've been hearing, or would at least give them, create a means of defense against any potential. It may not stop them, but it may create a barricade to stop the ultimate end game, which is the deed thefts and financial theft and et cetera. Ms. Davison?
So I love the questions that are being asked. I'm not sure that day that you're planning this event that we would be able to address all those things, but I do know, and I'm so sorry I don't have the date, that there is going to be a deed theft event with the DA's office along with the Attorney General. I will definitely share that with Mr. Kwame, and he can share it with the community board.
Definitely.
And when that event will be. And we also host those events sometimes once a month, depending on the topic that, you know, people are interested in. That we do have attorneys who come on board and will answer those questions as it pertains to putting your house in a trust. What's the best thing? And I know Ms. Martinez spoke about losing the star exemption and the senior exemption, and, you know, all those exemptions that help us with our property taxes. But there are other things too that, you know, putting your house in a trust, that you knock yourself out of the game with that. So it's really important to get legal advice before we do that. So we would definitely coordinate with the community board to bring that to the community as well.
Yeah, I also want to state before I go to you, Ms. Robinson, that, you know, our event hopefully could just spark the conversation. I'm sure that the conversations happened in the past, but the continuing education is happening at organizations like NHS Brooklyn, obviously our interior organization, and the help of Brooklyn Level Up. They have resources and pamphlets and books that anyone seeking this information outside of the event could also access. The idea for us is that we're probably visible as an organization, and having that resource come from us, we're trusted. Hopefully they trust us enough to come get the information from us. And should it be a financial burden to not be able to execute on that, to have somebody give those resources to you free of charge would be astounding. I wish I would have known about it, what I have to pay. Ms. Robinson.
Yes, I'm just curious. I gather we're getting information about, you know, estate planning. Would we then be referred to attorneys to carry out the actual trust and estate situation here?
That's correct. That's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to create a forum where we're going to speak about it, and before you leave the room, you could sign up to get it done. That's exactly what we're trying to do. That's the purpose of what we're trying to accomplish at this particular event. It's not only educational, but is executable. You'll be able to sign up and meet with attorneys, and maybe you don't sign up with those particular attorneys, but they'll give their resources to you to utilize. You know, maybe not for all of it. You may decide that ultimately that's your decision when you go in a room and you discuss how you want this to feather out.
And this would be free of charge?
Ms. Davison?
Yes, it's free. All the
Thank you.
documents are free. And I noticed somebody did put in the chat about Miss Barr, and I think maybe Audra Barr is the person that the person is referencing. Yes, and we worked with Miss Barr in the past to provide these events, to come out and speak at our events. And she, as you say, is well versed in trust. So you'll be hearing from both sides, you know, if she could be there as well to talk about trust, as our attorneys won't get too involved with the trust, as it's a bigger lift for them, and more expensive. Trust is, you know, way more expensive than these other documents that are being done for free.
Let me tell you.
And let me just add one little piece to this. Hopefully we talk to our children, talk to our family members when we're doing this, because, you know, in spite of the fact that we are going to have these documents prepared, our children, our whomever we're leaving to take charge of our estate need to know about it. You know, every day we see a family who has lost a family member, and although sometimes there's a will, the children know nothing about the will. They don't understand what needs to happen after someone dies. So we really need families to come together and bring everybody to this event so that everybody can be on the same page to know what happens after this will is done. What does it mean to be an executor? You know, what are the difficulties with it? Non-difficulties. You know, what are the things that we need to know? So we really love the fact that Mr. Afri is saying it's an education, and we really want it to be educational where people can ask questions. So just share with the community, with our friends and family.
Thank you. Bree, I see you unmuted. I don't know if you wanted to say something. No? Okay. All right. So I think that we got the grounds for something. We hit the ground running with this. Being that we don't have anything on our agenda, we shouldn't be too disjointed. The conversation will continue. All the people that reached out to me, we will continue to talk about this and try to get this more formalized as we get closer and closer to the date. Did somebody have their hand raised? I saw something. Mr. Lewis, was that you?
Yeah. You know, it's just a statement of fact, you know, but our communities have to get comfortable with these terms, insurance, trust, these things, because a lot of the times the misnomers, the belief that somebody coming to kill them if they get insurance, you know, taking away that fear to understand what we are missing in terms of not having these things. In my case in particular, my father passed away when I was 27 years old. Okay? If my father was a person that was not progressive enough to go and get the insurance and thing, where would my family be today? Out of that, you know, because my father was ministering in his church and everything, the church organization in whom we are going to rent, the insurance is paying to maintain the building through the pandemic that we went through. When so many churches lose the building, lose where they were renting, right? Plus two, out of what I received from my father passing away in the insurance, I was able to pay the down payment on my house that I currently have. So these are the conversations that need to be had to make people understand, you know, this is the best way for us to again get ahead. Everybody talk about the 40 acres and a mule and they're looking for reparation. This will be your reparation before they give us something. So let's invest in this and let's get people comfortable with this language so they're not running away and afraid somebody coming to take their life or thief the things from them.
Oh, they're coming to take the things. But again, he's right. The conversation is probably the most important factor. Even if we don't get anyone to sign up, or if they feel comfortable or uncomfortable in that particular situation, having the information out there and speaking freely. Mr. Lewis's story is a real one, right? 10 years now, that the house that we're going to be in, which is why we kind of wanted it to be in that type of facility, is still standing because of someone who planned for the unforeseen. You know, the power in that is immeasurable, but sometimes, you know, especially during grief-ridden times, these conversations happen then, and then these things can't get coordinated fast enough to be effective. And then there's probate, and then all these other things, and we're gonna get into it, but that's what you're trying to avoid. You want to be in those grief-ridden times when you come there and have your affairs in order, so to speak, right? So that when it's time for your family to have those conversations. If you do it right, your will or your instructions will be executed on. You know, it's a conversation you don't want to have, but when you're burying people at young ages, like I have, like Mr. Lewis has, it shocks you early enough that you realize how important it is, because you never know when it's your time to go. And that's just it, you know. That's just it. We've been burying people since I was 25. Buried my father in 2020. It happens, you know. It happens. So, uncomfortable or not, we need to speak about it as a community. You know, oftentimes in our community, it's if you don't talk about it, then it's not coming. No, it's coming. It's probably the only thing that we know is coming, and none of us know when. So we need to try to break that shell. I'm trying to loosen everybody up, but it's time to break that shell, look in the mirror, and realize that, you know, you can wake up tomorrow. And at this time, speaking on that, as we speak on the subject, if you haven't heard, I just want to tell everybody, if you know Miss James, Chair James, our rezoning chair, she recently lost her father. So if you want to reach out to her and give her any condolences, this is why I was in her meeting the other day. She's, you know, working through that period. I did that, so I know what she's going through. The word support can be helpful. If you have a personal relationship with her, reach out to her. And that's why she hasn't been as visible lately as she's been, because she's managing through that. So we send out prayer, love, and support for Ms. James. And, you know, her situation, of course, stamps or rubber stamps the importance of why we need to do this.
That's right.
Because speaking to her now about trying to coordinate what comes next, she's not in the right state. Well, none of us would be. I wasn't, you know, but if it's in place, then we'll be able to execute once we come out of the 12th step, you know, and move forward with something that your family could use, or just limit the confusion. Because that's really all it is. It just becomes controlled chaos with a bunch of opinions of who said and how. And you could eliminate all of that with some paper and ink and a signature. And all of that is null and void. Thank you, Ms. Davidson. We'll be in touch.
Who did you say had that for family?
You're welcome.
Ms. Julia James, our rezoning chair. I'm not sure who else. So if you know her, or you want to reach out to her, or reach out to, you know, our hospitality chair, Mr. Galbraith. I'm sure we'll be putting something together for her, but she's going through that. And I just want to share that if you didn't know. So Ms. Davidson, thank you. We'll be in touch.
Thank you for having me on. Good night, everyone. Happy Easter if you celebrate that.
Definitely.
Thank you. Happy Easter to you.
Thank you. Happy Easter to you too.
Be well.
Happy Easter.
Be well. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Happy Easter.
So let me see what we got. I believe we have quorum now. So we have to circle back to the approval of the meeting minutes for January 5th. January 5th? That's not right. Is it?
For March 3rd.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was reading.
No, actually, March 2nd.
For March 2nd, sorry. I was just reading the, everyone received the meetings for March 2nd?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, can anyone make a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
I move to Joan Alexander Balcony moves to accept the meeting minutes with noted changes for the March 2023 meeting.
Appreciate it. Do we have a second? Who seconded? I'm sorry. Thank you, Ms. Beldown. Motion's been moved and properly seconded. We'll open it up for discussions. Any adjustments, addendums, corrections that need to be made to the meeting for March 2nd?
I think, I have a question.
About the meeting minutes, Mr. Holland?
Not about the meeting, but something that happened as a result of that.
We have to discuss it after the motion is passed.
Oh, okay, okay,
All right.
sure.
This time is to correct the meeting minutes and to make adjustments to the meeting minutes after we vote on it. Then you can make any comment afterwards.
Okay.
Keep it close. Any adjustments to the meeting minutes? Seeing none. All right. So, all in favor of approving the meeting minutes for March 2nd, say aye.
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 All opposed? Any abstentions? Granted. The motion is passed and the meeting minutes for March 2nd, 2023 are approved. Mr. Holland, your question?
Yeah, my question is, I want to know if anybody is in the meeting here from Whitty Lane and how the developers meet with the residents of Whitty Lane and how that went. I'm just curious, you know, how that meeting went with the residents of Whitty Lane.
Is anyone from Whitty Lane present?
I guess not. Okay.
Right. All right. So, moving on to unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business? Oh, wait. Can't look down for a second. Mr. Johnson, your hand is raised.
Yes, I'm a resident from Whitty Lane, and I haven't been, no one reached out to me or my neighbors from the Development Corporation. They said they were, but to this day, nothing. No mail, no posters, nothing was posted in the neighborhood, nothing. That's just me. I don't know if anybody else, I spoke to my neighbor today. He didn't mention anything, so no.
Oh, that's strange because when I went to the community board meeting, Mr. Afray was there. My colleague Ryan Cagle read a testimony, and by the elevator on the way out, the developers came and we were on the elevator together, and they said that they were meeting the next day or the day after 2 days with the residents of Whitty Lane. And that's why I asked. They said they were. So
Well, listen, they're not, there's probably 40 houses on this block. So even if they took a ream of paper and printed out, you know, that they want to have a meeting, it's not that hard to get everybody to come out. So I don't know what's going on with those guys. I think it's all lip service.
Yes.
Mm.
This was Bennett. I like to know what happened with Whitty Lane also, because I'm on Kings Highway, and what affects them is going to affect me.
I can't hear you. You're breaking up.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, it's very muffled.
What happened with Whitty Lane also?
Mr. Johnson just spoke. He said that, you know, he can't speak for his entire block, but he is a resident of Whitty Lane and he hasn't received any communications at this moment.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the statement. On our end, we're waiting. Ms. Bennett?
I said maybe you can reach out to them. Had the board reach out to them to find out what exactly is going on with them?
Yes.
Don't let this slide because they're gonna sneak in.
So you want me to reach out to them and ask them when they're going to have the discussion with the Whitty Lane residents? Is that what you're asking me?
Yes, don't sneak by us.
Yeah. I will definitely, you know, I'll reach out and see what's going on there. They were supposed to send a letter. The letter they sent out to the residents of Whitty Lane, they were supposed to send a copy to the chair. I'm not sure if he got that, but they said, I'm sorry?
I received the letter, but I couldn't distribute it because it needed to be redacted. It had someone's personal information on it. They did send us a letter. I don't know if the residents received that letter, but that was the older letter from December that they claimed they sent out, not any new information.
And not only that, I just wanted to say too that they claim to have sent out letters to all of the residents and not one response, not one. That was a little yeah, that was a little suspicious. But in any case, I don't know if did you know if Chair Daly also received the letter?
Yeah, we both received the letter. The letter from December, not anything that was generated post our vote.
Okay.
No, we received because the question was that they sent the letter out, and they forwarded a letter to us, but it was personalized, name, address, this, that, and that needed to be redacted. But we did confirm that we don't know if they sent the letter out, but they gave us a copy of whatever letter they claimed they circulated.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Excellent. Unfinished business. We were there, so just circling back.
Mm-hmm.
Any other unfinished business? Ms. Bennett?
Yes, I'd like to know what is going on with the old Riley building that's now shut down on Clarkson and Kings Highway.
I don't know.
Because I checked before you came, when as chair, they were planning on putting something there.
All the Rite Aids are closing, but
But that one they had sent property a whole list of information to the board in regards to putting up a complex, a luxury condominium complex. This was about maybe 4 years ago. Now that it's closed, I'd like to know is anything moving on it. Oh, there is something else I want to let you know. In the NYPD, they have a division called the Level 4 agents. Those are the agents that go out and write construction zones. For some reason or another, they were removed from the outer boroughs. So they could not write the developers who are making laws in all our communities. Are you aware of that?
okay. Miss Bennett, the address of the Rite Aid was where?
I'm not sure. I know it's Clarkson Avenue. They use the Clarkson Avenue address.
I'm gonna get up early and leave in the morning. You know, I'm gonna be back. But where's the truck? You on the right?
It's on it's bounded by Clarkson, Rockaway Parkway, and Kings Highway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll follow up on that.
It's a whole block. Oh, it's also bounded by East, I think not 98, I think it's East 96th Street.
Yes, yeah. It's around there.
Yeah, so right around where the development's gonna be. Not too
That's
far.
right.
I'll do a search. I'll search the business, the BIS, see if we can see what's being pulled there, and if anything is coming, I'll let you know.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Bennett.
Thank you.
Any other unfinished business? Seeing none. Moving on to new business. Do we have any new business? Any events? Nothing. Everyone wants to get out early tonight, huh? I feel you. I feel you.
I just added 2 more events to the April agenda that I'll send to you.
All right. Hearing no new business, you know what time it is. We're here at the end of the hour. It's probably our earliest meeting all year. We'll be in contact. I'll be in contact with the souls and the people that reached out in the chat or etc. We'll try to coordinate it as the details flourish and becomes whole. They'll come out in email form, but as you know, you got the address. Thank you. They'll come out in email form, but as you know, we have an ongoing conversation going on our WhatsApp group. So that's where I'll be posting most of the information. But as it develops and galvanizes something, I have Ms. Gordon distribute it. Oh, and everyone say hi to Ms. Gordon. She's hosting our meetings moving forward. Ms. Frazier's
Ms. Gordon.
Hi.
is our ADM.
Hi there.
Thanks, Mr. Hamilton. Yeah, I'll look up that address from the DOB perspective and see if anything's happening. 11:54. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Oh, so we're here at adjournment. Anyone makes a motion to adjourn?
Joan Alexander Bakardine moves to adjourn the meeting at 8:35 p.m.
Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Ms. Ronaldo. Oh, we got a third. Motion's been moved, properly seconded, and third. Good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Good evening.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Happy Easter,
Night.
everyone.
Good weekend.
Holidays, indeed. Happy to celebrate.
Happy
Take care.
holidays, everybody.
Good night. Good night,
Have a great
everyone.
holiday weekend. Bye now.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
I'll stop the recording.
Yeah.
There you go.